Tonight, we're diving into a really chilling story about a dare that goes horribly, horribly wrong. It all starts with a vlogger, a house everyone says is haunted, and a deadly game where the rules are literally written in fear.
So, picture this. These were the confident, you might even say arrogant, last words that a vlogger named Rahul broadcasted to all his followers. He was live streaming from inside this bungalow that has a super dark history, all ready to debunk yet another local legend. And then, poof, his live feed just cut out sometime in the middle of the night. When his friend showed up the next morning, the house was just silent. Rahul, his phone, his camera, everything was gone. So what on earth actually happened inside that bungalow? See, Rahul was a total thrill seeker. He built his entire online brand by challenging the supernatural and then walking away laughing about it. But this time was different. This wasn't just for his audience. It was a bet with his friends. And it was a bet he was absolutely determined to win.
So, that's the setup, right? You've got this overconfident vlogger, a place that's notoriously haunted, and a sudden, completely baffling disappearance. When his friends, Sachin, Sunaina, Vivek, and Atul, go to check on him, all they find is this eerie silence and, well, a really bad feeling.
And you know how this goes. The police, they're skeptical. They just chalk it all up to a publicity stunt or some kind of prank. But his friends, they know something is deeply wrong. So, fueled by that frustration and a sense of loyalty, they make a pretty fateful decision. They're going to go back to the bungalow that night and find him themselves. They had no idea they were walking right into a trap.
Now, this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Because as they start to prepare, they find out this isn't just some random haunting. The whole thing shifts from a mystery to, well, a survival guide. You see, the entity in this house, it plays a game. A deadly game with a very, very specific set of rules. And surviving in there has nothing to do with being brave. It's all about being smart and following the code.
These rules are literally their only defense. The thing that's haunting the house is a female spirit known in folklore as a Pishachini. And it's intelligent. It learns their names, it mimics their voices perfectly to try and lure them apart. Their only real shot is to communicate through written notes. It seems to be the one loophole the spirit can't exploit. Every single one of these rules is a key to survival, and breaking just one, well, that's a fatal mistake.
So they go back to the bungalow that night, armed with these rules, a bunch of candles, and, let's be honest, a pretty fragile sense of hope. The second they're all inside, the game starts. Every single one of their lighters just stops working. They're just clicking uselessly in this heavy silence until, all at once, they ignite in this perfect, chilling unison.
And it's Sunaina who says what they are all thinking. This isn't just some weird malfunction. This is a message. The entity knows they're here, and it is ready to play.
Right away, the entity's strategy is crystal clear: divide and conquer. It knows it can't take them all on at once, so it starts to methodically pick them apart, using the house's twisting layout, the darkness, and their own rising fear to isolate each and every one of them.
Atul, he's the first one to fall. He gets lured towards a wardrobe by this mysterious knock, and he's trapped. Sachin, remembering the rules, frantically tries to communicate with a note, but the entity is way faster. The pen he slides under the door is driven straight back through his own hand, a brutal punishment for trying to be clever. And in that moment of chaos, Atul is dragged, screaming, into the suffocating dark of the wardrobe. And this is where you realize this creature doesn't just rely on physical terror. No, its real power is in psychological warfare. It's a classic horror trope, right? The monster isn't just in the room with you, it's inside your head. It creates these vivid illusions, preys on your emotions, and literally turns your own mind against you. So the entity targets Vivek next, and it uses his feelings for Sunaina against him. He finds what he thinks is her, lying unconscious in a dark room. He rushes over to her side, and he sees his beautiful friend, her skin practically glowing in the faint light. So he leans in to kiss her, desperate to wake her up. But it's not Sunaina. It's all an illusion. The second his lips touch the illusion, it just shatters. He realizes, in absolute horror, that he just kissed a decaying corpse, and his mouth is now filled with squirming larvae. He tries to run, but he's seized by this unseen force and is compelled to smash his own head against the wall over and over until he's just a bloody, broken mess, before being dragged away into the dark.
And that's the light bulb moment for Satine. He finally understands what they're up against. They aren't just fighting a ghost, they're fighting a chalava, a master of deception that feeds on your perception of reality. It means what you see isn't real, and what's real, you probably can't see.
So now we're down to two survivors, Sachin and Sunina. They're separated, they're terrified, and they realize their only way out isn't to keep running. It's to stop, turn around, and confront the source of this evil head-on. While she's isolated, Sunaina stumbles upon this old drawing book, and as she starts flipping through the pages, the horrific images on them begin to animate. She sees this terrifying female figure in a white sari moving from page to page, slowly, deliberately, just walking closer and closer. She finally gets to the very last page. It's blank. Well, almost blank, except for a chilling two-word message written in what looks like blood. It confirms her absolute worst fear. The creature isn't in the book anymore. After a terrifying escape, Sunaina manages to find Sachin, and together they uncover the house's final awful secret, a hidden basement. The smell is the first thing that hits them. Inside, it's a house of horrors. They find the grisly, half-eaten remains of their friends, and right there in the middle of it all, lying on the damp floor, is the Pishachini's physical anchor, its own ancient mummified corpse. They know exactly what they have to do. There's no other choice. They start gathering whatever flammable stuff they can find and pile it high on the corpse. But as they try to light the pyre, the desiccated body shrieks, a sound that is not from this world. They manage to get it ablaze, and as the fire finally consumes the body, the evil presence in the bungalow is destroyed. They barely escape as the whole house goes up in flames behind them. So, Sachin and Sunina, they made it out alive. They survived the game. But the story leaves us with one last really haunting thought. I mean, destroying the monster, that's one thing. But living with the memory of what it did to your friends, well, that's a whole different kind of haunting.